Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and felt like something was in the room with you? No sound, no movement, just the sense that you're not alone. That's how it starts. That's how they saw it. The thing, the crawler, the rake. You don't find the rake, it finds you. It doesn't announce itself. There's no loud knock, no roar, just stillness, then breathing. And then it's already too late. Let's go back. The name, the Rake, first exploded online in 2006. People call it creepypasta. But here's the strange part. There were hundreds of reports just like it before the story ever went viral. People who had never heard of it. People from completely different parts of the world, describing the same thing. A pale, hairless humanoid, 6 feet tall but crouched. Long arms, sharp claws. No eyes, or if it has them, they're completely black. It doesn't walk. It crawls. Fast, quiet, and it shows up when you're most vulnerable, when you're asleep. The first widely circulated story came from upstate New York. A man wakes up in the middle of the night. His wife is breathing heavily next to him. He hears something, a sound like nails tapping on wood. He turns his head, and it's there, sitting at the edge of the bed, completely still. He says it looked like a person, but wrong. Its skin was stretched tight, like wet paper. Its head was tilted at an unnatural angle, and it was just watching them. After what felt like minutes, it crawled away, fast, jerky, spider-like. They moved the next morning, but the thing followed. He wasn't the only one. A woman in Arkansas claimed she woke up to find a humanoid figure crouched on her bedroom floor. She couldn't scream. She couldn't move. Sleep paralysis, they said. But when she blinked, it was closer and closer. Then, nothing. She woke up the next morning with 3 long scratches across her stomach. No broken windows, no forced entry, no pets. One of the most disturbing accounts came from a 1964 journal entry. It was found in the belongings of a woman who had died in a car crash decades later. Here's what it said. I have been visited every night for the past 2 weeks. It stands by my bed and watches. The one time it spoke, it whispered, I know what you did. I've told no one of this. If something happens to me, it wasn't an accident. Now here's where it gets worse. The Rake isn't just a passive presence. It chooses people. It attaches itself. It becomes a parasite, not physically, but psychologically. You start seeing it more often, at night, in reflections, in the corner of your eye. Then the dreams begin. A room full of static. A figure crawling toward you, claws tapping the floor. Then you wake up to find muddy footprints by your bed. July 2010, a couple hiking through the Appalachian Trail finds what they think is an injured animal. It's lying in the middle of the trail, looks almost human, but completely bald. They move closer, thinking it's a person. It leaps to its feet and vanishes into the trees. No sound, no footprints, just gone. They camp a few miles further. That night, the tent zips open. Something crawls in. The man screams. By the time he finds his flashlight, his girlfriend is gone. Vanished. They found her body 2 weeks later. High up in a pine tree, limbs broken like she'd been dropped from a great height. And the coroner couldn't explain the cuts on her torso, but they looked like claws. People who survived it. They all described the same feeling, a suffocating dread, a chill in the air, like their breath was being pulled out of them. Some say the Rake doesn't kill, it waits until you want it to, until the fear becomes too much. Now here's where things get really strange. There are videos. Unexplained footage posted to forums and deep web threads. Most of them scrub it quickly, but some have been saved. A 14-second clip filmed in a cabin in Oregon shows a pale creature crawling across the ceiling above a sleeping man. You hear it breathing. The man never wakes up. The uploader, a friend, says the guy died of a heart attack the next morning. 27 years old, perfect health. Autopsy came back inconclusive. Let's talk about the main case. A man sets up security cameras after hearing strange noises in his farmhouse at night. Tapping, scuttling, scratches under the bed. He reviews the footage. Every night, at 3:11 a.m., the feed cuts out for 1 minute. Just static. Then it resumes. No sign of forced entry. No alarms triggered. But in the corner of the frame, a chair is slowly turned to face the bed. He tries staying awake one night. Lies still with his phone recording. At exactly 3:11, he hears something enter the room. Not walk, crawl. Like nails across tile. The last thing the audio picks up is whispering. But it's not in any known language. Then he screams. And the phone goes dead. He was found outside, unconscious, with deep scratches across his chest. He never went back. There's a theory that the rake doesn't come from here. That it's not just a creature, but a reflection. A mirror image of your fear, guilt, or trauma. It doesn't exist until you give it a reason to, but once it's aware of you, it won't stop watching. I haven't even told you about the campsite disappearance, or the New Jersey basement footage, or the man who burned down his entire house just to escape it. But one case stands out, because it's the only one where someone survived and spoke in detail about what the rake wanted. The account is almost too detailed, too disturbing, and it starts with a boy who hadn't spoken in 2 years, until the night it came back. He was 9 years old, lived with his aunt in rural Pennsylvania after his parents died in a house fire. He hadn't spoken a word in nearly 2 years. But one night, June 3rd, 2019, that changed. His aunt was woken at 3:15 a.m. by whispering. She walked into the boy's room and found him sitting upright in bed. Mouth open, eyes wide, speaking in a voice that wasn't his. It said, "I'm next." That it liked how I watched it crawl. It said I belonged to it now. She asked who it was. He looked her dead in the eyes and said, "The thing under your bed." When police arrived, the boy was catatonic, wouldn't blink, wouldn't respond. But the security footage from the hallway that night, it showed a tall, hunched figure crawling from his room into hers. Let's talk about the basement video. New Jersey, 2017. A man named Anthony sets up motion-triggered night vision in his basement. He kept hearing noises. Thought it was rats. The footage shows something worse. At 2:58 a.m., the lights flicker, then silence. Suddenly, the camera shifts, like something touched it. And for half a second you can see it. Long limbs, bony spine, no hair, mouth slightly open. Like it's listening. Anthony moves out 2 days later, but friends say he stopped sleeping. 3 months later, he was found dead in his apartment. Not murdered, just gone. Autopsy ruled it as complete cardiac arrest. But here's the weird part. His fingernails were torn off, and his closet door had been clawed from the inside. Now, not every rake story ends in death. Some people live, but none of them walk away unchanged. A Reddit user in 2021 posted about waking up to see the rake perched on his dresser. It didn't move. It didn't speak. It just watched. Every night after, the man said he'd feel it get closer. At first, by the wall, then the corner, then the foot of the bed. Then one night, he woke up inside the closet, naked, bleeding from the mouth. He had no memory of how he got there. Just the whisper burned into his mind. You sleep like you're already dead. Let's talk about the whisper. So many victims, the ones who've heard it, say it speaks. But what it says isn't random, it knows things. Things no one else could. Secrets, regrets, names of the dead. One survivor said it recited the prayer she whispered the night her mother died, word for word. Another man said it repeated the name of his brother, the one he accidentally left behind in a house fire when he was 13. No news article ever mentioned the brother. So how did it know? A case out of Idaho is even more disturbing. A young woman kept dreaming of something crawling toward her bed. In each dream, it was closer. Then one night, she woke up paralyzed, eyes open, and saw it crouched over her face. It whispered, "You shouldn't have looked at me." She tried to scream. She couldn't. The next morning, her roommate found her shaking, eyes bloodshot, lips torn from clenching her teeth. She couldn't sleep without light for 3 years. So what is it? The most accepted theory is that the Rake is a type of tulpa, a creature born from belief, that we created it, that our fear summoned it. But here's the flaw in that logic. The stories go back way before the internet. We're talking pre-World War II journal entries, indigenous cave drawings, and even whispered legends from isolated communities in Siberia and northern Canada. All of them describe a creature that crawls, watches, whispers, and waits. Let's talk about the 2013 campsite. A group of teens camping near Yosemite reported hearing rustling around their tent just after midnight. They assumed it was a raccoon, until they heard whispering. They unzipped the tent and saw nothing. But when one of them turned to speak, he stopped mid-sentence. Everyone else turned. A pale humanoid was perched on top of a boulder, staring down at them. Not blinking, not breathing. Then it lunged. 3 of the kids ran. 1 tripped. He was never found. The other campers say they still hear him screaming in dreams years later, his voice echoing through static. In 2020, a viral clip surfaced briefly before being scrubbed from most platforms. It was a live stream from a man doing an overnight in a haunted forest challenge. Clickbait stuff. But halfway through the stream, he hears something. You see him go still. Then he mutters, That's my mom's voice." But his mother had died a year earlier. He walks toward the sound. Then the stream cuts. The last frame? A pale face peering into the camera from behind him. So why hasn't the Rake been caught on clear footage? Why haven't we proven it? Maybe it's not something that lives in the physical world. Maybe it slips through in that space between sleep and waking, between breath and silence. Maybe it only appears when you're helpless, when your guard is down, when you're alone, but don't think you are. There's one more case I haven't told you because it happened last week. A man on a solo trip in Alaska left a voicemail for his sister. In it, he's calm until the last few seconds. His voice changes. He says, "If anything happens to me, it's real. It said it's been waiting, and now that I've seen it, I can't leave." He's still missing. But rangers found something outside his cabin. A single word scratched into the ice on the window. Alone. So if you ever wake up in the middle of the night and feel something watching from the shadows, don't open your eyes. Don't listen. And whatever you do, don't let it speak. Because once you hear it, you're already his. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay aware of all things supernatural.